Teachers of Reddit. What's the funniest excuse for being late, not doing homework, etc. you've ever heard from a student? I had the same kid tell me twice that his dog ate his Chromebook. He said he used his Chromebook as a plate to eat a steak and the dog ate it. My first year teaching, it was 4th grade, and one student informed me that she hadn't done her reading the night before because we had pizza for dinner. It's been 20 years and I'm still confused. My mother was a high school teacher over a decade ago, and once had a student come in halfway through the first class and say he was late because he was escaping from the pigs. She didn't really think much of it and ignored him. However, he was arrested before school ended. It's one of her favorite stories to tell. Sometimes it's scarier when they don't lie to you. The kid's homework sheet was ripped in half. He said his sheep ate it. I asked why he had his homework outside with the sheep, and he said he didn't. The sheep was in his kitchen. I asked why, and he said they usually let it in the house. He said this in a tone that was like, duh. So later, I asked another kid, who lived next door to this kid, if his neighbor really had sheep in his kitchen. He's like, yeah, that's why my mom doesn't let me eat dinner over there anymore. She thinks it's unsanitary. Please excuse Janet from class today. She is in the hospital having her baby brought to me by a sibling. I'd each elementary, and the best are when 8 to 9-year-olds write their own excuse notes for their absences. My favorite has always been, Dear Mrs. Sorry. I was sick because I ate too much bad shrimp. I won't throw up anymore now. I hope. I was late once cause someone threw my bike in a tree. There was no room in the rack, so I just threaded the lock through the frame and both wheels. Someone must have tried to steal it and then got frustrated when it wouldn't ride and threw it up into a f***ing tree. It took me a while to get it down and entangle the bike lock, but luckily I had a photo of it in the tree to show my professor. Once one of my classmates was late because their pufferfish had escaped. Cows got out last night and I had to chase them home all night. I knew the kid and the family, so it wasn't a lie. Good kid who was obviously tired. I told him not to worry about missed homework. He was practicing an escape trick for the upcoming school talent show, handcuffed himself to a chair and couldn't find the key. Mum freed him, but not fast enough to get him to school on time. His twin brother verified the story, as did the mum. Saw his bit on the talent show. He was great, but wisely opted not to do that particular trick. Online student emailed that she had evacuated her house due to wildfires. Sosie, husband, kids, and 2 large dogs were sharing a hotel room. Not asking for special treatment. Just apologizing ahead of time for the background noise during the upcoming exam. I had a student take a calling class and followed it up by telling me my grandmother's horse got out and she can't catch it. I have to go help corral it, so can I leave early? Even if it was untrue. The sheer gall got a yes from me. The student sent me an email a few hours later containing a picture, which was a selfie of them with the horse, informing me that he had caught it. Lost his shoe and messaged me whether okay to wear slippers to class, otherwise he would skip school for the day. He's 19. This was in our last year of high school. A fellow student came in late into our double math lesson. It was winter and said that the light on his bike wasn't working, so he had to wait until the sun came up. One time I used the fence at the goat exhibit to fill out an answer on my worksheet, and a goat ate it. My teacher couldn't go back to the bus for another, so she excused me from the worksheet for the whole field trip. I had a student tell me that he couldn't do his assignment because it was Passover. I said, Passover started at sunset. Couldn't you have done it during the day? He said no, my mom arrived to take me shopping. That's what I meant. I'm sorry that you misunderstood that. Shopping with mom, major religious holidays. Easily confused. Well, last semester was sorry that I'm late, but my puppy just learned to go down the stairs. Not a teacher, but a kid in my class once skipped an entire class. Gone for an hour. He showed up to the next class, angry and demoralized. Everyone knew he'd been missing, and he was confronted by the teacher whose class he'd skipped. I was ambushed in the bathroom. Apparently some prankster had placed a ring of sealed ketchup packets under the toilet bowl lid. So when this dude sat down, the weight of his butt ruptured all the ketchup packets, making them explode inward all over his exposed ass. He was literally cleaning ketchup off his ass and the toilet stall for 45 minutes. A kid turned in a paper to me that was extremely damp. I asked why his paper was so damp and he just said my hands are really sweaty. I told him there was no way his hands were sweaty enough to saturate the paper to that extent. He pulled his hands out of his pockets, looked me in the eyes, and with beads of water dripping off of his fingertips said, "Mister, I don't know what to tell you. My hands are just really sweaty." Turns out he had hyperhidrosis. Student gets in late, tells me sorry, I got up late. I ask if he has his homework. No, I told you I got up late, but I gave the assignment last week. Well, I did not have time to do it because I got up late. He's looking at me like I'm a total moron. I taught pre-K and one day my co-teacher and I could hear a loud humming sound and went to work checking coats and backpacks. One little girl brought mom's vibrators for show and tell. Having to explain to mom was very awkward. Not a teacher, but I had a friend, let's call him Jake, who didn't do his homework and used the classic dog ate my homework, but tweaked a bit. His neighbor had 2 dogs. Jake went to pet one of them, but the other dog somehow managed to break into his house, climb upstairs and open his bag, and steal the homework from him. It was such a bad excuse, even the teacher was laughing. Had a kid rush up to me mid-lesson to whisper furiously and anxiously that she had to go to the bathroom immediately because she had just realized her cat had shit in her shoe and she needed to get rid of it. It was the last period of the day. I let her go anyway cause it was just like Sarah. "Miss, I had a neck transplant yesterday, that's why I can't participate today." Student was dead serious. In 3rd grade I got a brush stuck in my thick, curly hair. It was one of my mom's round brushes and somehow I wrapped my hair all around it and it got stuck. I spent the day at a hair salon. After several hours with no luck, the hairdresser cut off the bristles. The next day at school I told my teacher that I had been absent because there was a brush stuck in my hair. At first she didn't believe me until it turned out that a classmate knew all about it. He told the teacher that his mom had gone to the same salon the day before and went home hysterically laughing about some 8-year-old with a brush sticking out of her hair. A story second-hand from my grade 7 teacher. He said the best story he got was that the kid had done his homework in the basement and left it on the desk or a chair or something when he was done. Nothing unusual, except then his parents, not aware of the homework, painted the floor around said desk or chair, which happened to be in a corner. I guess they were going to finish that corner of the room another day, so the kid couldn't retrieve his homework before school because it was surrounded by a floor of wet paint. The teacher let it go, but when parents' night came along a little while later, he said something to the parents like, "I hear you guys have been doing some painting." Turns out they had been, and the kid was telling the truth. My classmate said that a big rat ate my notebook and showed the notebook with bite marks on it. It was so obvious that he bit it himself to get out of trouble. Not an excuse for being late, but a student of mine was late a lot last year and I kept issuing her detentions. It's policy after a certain number. Also, she was late cause she would eat hot Cheetos at her locker, which was literally about 30 feet from my door. So this one time at the end of the day I go back to my room and she's standing at my door telling me she'll just sleep in the classroom overnight so she won't be late in the morning. We made the deal that she could eat Cheetos the first 5 minutes of class.